So, when I was 16 years old, I came across a man called David Goggins. Now, David Goggins, if you haven't heard of him, he's a retired Navy SEAL and he forever changed my life. I came across his book, Can't Hurt Me, and in the book, there's a chapter called The 40% Rule. And the idea behind the 40% rule is that our perceived limit of perceived capacity is actually only 40% of what we're truly capable of, whether that be in work or whether that be in the gym or whatever, right? Our perceived capacity is actually only 40% of our full capacity. So after hearing about this, I wanted to put it to the test. I wanted to see if this is true. So I had a pull-up bar in my house, and what I did was I said to myself, okay, I'm going to see how many pull-ups I can do in the next, 2 hours. Okay. So around 45 minutes in, I got to 200 pull-ups, and I went to do another 200. I went to do another pull-up after that 200th pull-up, and I couldn't do another one. My body was fully exhausted. At least I thought so anyway. So I sat down for a second and I reread that part of the book. And in theory, if it was correct, I should be able to do 300 more because 200 is 40% of 500. So I sat down, thought about it for probably about 5, 6 minutes. And then I went to do another pull up. I could not do another pull up. It was impossible, at least I thought. I gave it some more time, sat down, really thought about whether or not this limit was just something I imposed on myself, because that's what he states in this chapter, right? And then eventually, you know, over time, I managed to do 300 more. It took me like an hour and 40 minutes, I believe. And yeah, that day, early November 2020, forever changed my life. And that is why I've decided to build an AI version of David Goggins to show some, respect for what he's done for me anyway. And here's the quote from the book here. When your mind is telling you you're done, you're really only 40% done. So without further ado, I'll show you what I've built. Now, I've kind of built two things. Version one is the idea where you can talk to this chatbot, which is trained off of what David knows himself, and that means it feels like you're talking to this AI version of him over text. And then the other option is where I'm going to show you how you can receive personal voice notes from David Goggins himself. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Just before I start the conversation with AI David Goggins, for those of you that have watched my previous videos, well, welcome back. For those of you that are new, my name is Jay. I build AI applications. I own an AI agency called Auto Advanced AI, where we're currently building AI versions of YouTubers, which they can then sell to their audience as a SaaS, software as a service. So yeah, that's just a very brief explanation. But anyways, back to the video. So for those of you that know David, he mostly talks about, self-improvement, fitness, usually those topics. So it makes sense to start with, like a self-improvement question. How do I improve my mindset, let's say? There we go. So that's, yeah, a pretty accurate answer that David would say himself. I'm just going to ask another question. How did you break the pull-up record? So there we go. I believe that is, yeah, that is how he broke the pull-up record. I'm just going to ask him another question. How did you become a Navy SEAL and get through a week? There we go, and that is something he says in his book. But yeah, those are just a few questions. But now I'm kind of going to explain why this could be such a huge. There's a lot of potential behind this, right? The idea is, huge YouTubers, huge influencers, celebrities, even they have a lot of attention. A lot of people want to talk to them. A lot of people want to get access and get advice and specific knowledge from them. However, if you could build like an AI clone of them in an AI chatbot, then it feels like you're talking to them, but you're not. You're talking to this AI version of them. And as long as the AI version provides accurate answers that they would usually say themselves, then how is it any different, right? And that's kind of where it's scary, isn't it, in terms of where it could go with AI technology. But I hope that gives like a clearer explanation. Like for example, if you're a coach and you are dealing with clients all the time and they're asking you repetitive questions, and new clients are asking the same questions that your old clients were asking, is a very repetitive process. Well, if you direct them to this AI version of you, then this AI version of you can be trained off of what you know. So it provides more, it provides the same answers you would provide, except you're not doing it yourself. You're not limited to your time's no longer limited. And yeah, that's kind of where the potential could go with this sort of thing. Now I'm just going to do a very quick rundown of kind of how this was built. I'm not going to do a step-by-step tutorial just because the video will take a lot longer than it needs to be for that. However, if that is something you'd like to see, then just drop a comment. I did do a 40-minute video customer support chatbot, but I haven't posted it yet because I'm not sure if that's something you guys would maybe want. But if it is, then yeah, just drop a comment and I can upload that video. But yeah, without further ado, this is how it looks in. So what we're using is a platform called BotPress. So the conversation starts. We just say, how can I help? And then what we've got is a raw input card here, and then we're going to capture that in a variable called workflow.question, and then we send the response we get from the user to another platform called Stack AI. Okay, and this is how it looks in Stack AI. You have an input node here. This is where the question will be. We have a documents plus search node here. This is where we have the knowledge base. So this is kind of like the brain of the bot, if that makes sense. So in this situation, I've just taken 3 of David Goggins' interviews and put it into this documents plus search node. And that acts as the brain. That's what's used as a point of reference when it tries to answer questions from the users. So, and then we have this OpenAI model here. So this is GPT model, GPT-4 32K is used here, and that's used to. What's happening here is we've assigned, using a prompt, the system a personality. And then we're giving it some context, which comes from the YouTube videos, and then we're just asking it to give an answer as if they're David Goggins himself, and then it outputs it here. So I'll probably create a resource section in the future, just because I can imagine a lot of you probably want to kind of play around with these sort of things. So yeah, but for now, this is kind of how it looks. And yeah, and what you want to do is, once you've set this up, you want to go to export. And then when you're in the export section, you want to go to API endpoint, and then you want to copy this API URL here, and then you want to click show token. I'm not going to do it just because it will show mine, but yeah, you click show token, and then you'll have a token here, and then you just copy those 2 values, and you put the token in place of these 3 asterisks here, and then you take the Stack AI endpoint and you put it in place of these 3 here, these 3 asterisks here. But yeah, that's a brief rundown of kind of how it works. Okay, so now we're going to ask AI David Goggins questions, but instead of getting text answers back, we're going to get AI voice notes back, which is basically where I've cloned his voice using a software tool called 11 Labs. So we're going to get voice notes back from David Goggins that sounds pretty similar to himself. So let me just get it going. How do I level up? Let's ask that question. So imagine, a lot of you probably watch, famous influencers or podcasters or motivational speakers such as David Goggins. Imagine if you could have a daily broadcast where at a certain time every day you get like a motivational message from David Goggins, except it's not actually him; it's his AI. It's the AI version of him, and the software we use for this is called 11 Labs, and its functionality and what's kind of possible with it at the moment is pretty insane in terms of how accurate the cloning of voices are, and you'll see right now. So let's see.
To level up, you need to stop thinking normal. You can't be a common person doing common things. You need to figure out your own equation in life, confront your weaknesses, and hold yourself accountable. Remember, your best workouts come when you're least motivated. It's about being driven, being obsessed, and refusing to let anything stop you.
So yeah, that's something David would probably say himself, but I'm not going to shoot loads of voice notes just because it will make the video longer than it needs to be, but I'm just going to show you kind of how I set this up now. Yeah, so what we're using here is we're using a platform called Make. Now, there's 4 modules we're using for this particular setup. The first one is webhooks, so that's basically where we're waiting to receive the data in Telegram from the user. So that's when the user asks the question. We're then using the HTTP module to post that to Stack AI, and this is the same setup as we had earlier as well. And then we're taking the answer we get from Stack AI and we're posting it to 11 Labs, and then 11 Labs is going to turn the text into the AI cloned voice of David Goggins, and then all we're doing is we're sending that back to Telegram. But yeah, if you'd like to see a more in-depth, like step-by-step tutorial how to set this up, then just drop a comment and I can build those videos. But for now, I've just decided to leave it out to make this video a bit shorter. But that can be done as well. And I'll probably make a resource hub where I can input all of these templates so that you guys can get access to them and kind of play around with them yourself. But yeah, that's how we set it up. But yeah, thank you for watching. This has now been, I think, my third video. So yeah, appreciate you watching. Any feedback would be greatly appreciated so that I can keep getting better at this. Any specific AI applications that you'd like to see, and there'll be many more coming, then just, yeah, drop a comment or send me a message on Instagram. Same with all the other things here. If you want more detailed walkthroughs, then yeah, drop a comment or send me a message on Instagram, and then let me know if you'd like a resource hub where I can put all of these like templates on there so that you can get access to these templates, and that means you can kind of play around with these things yourself. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you very soon.